Well, we're now in this second quarter, starting a new semester actually. Back with you. Now more than ever, we need to pay attention, right? Parents need to pay attention, students need to pay attention, everybody needs to pay attention. When you live in a society of any society, you need to pay attention to what's going on around you. And as things change, you must change. One of the things we teach, or the state has, is adaptability skills. So today, I'm kind of showing the students about adaptability, dress code. We talk about dress code a lot here. They wear inappropriate clothes to school. But the culture is you kind of go free, you wear what you want, you hang out. I remember when I was in elementary school, my mother wouldn't purchase me any dungarees, as they call them, or blue jeans, because that was a sign of poverty. It was not until I got about the 6th grade that, things had changed culturally to shift, the hippie era, and people were wearing blue jeans, and it wasn't a stigma. Same thing with wooden floors. We had to have carpet wall to wall because, again, at that time, wooden floors was not trending. It was a sign of you really had, you could basically see through to the ground, right, with the wooden floor. And so wooden floors were even frowned on. Now wooden floors they're all the rage usually, and now with laminate floors and different things like that. So things change and you have to adapt. The I can statements here are adaptability skills. If students are going to be successful, they have to learn to adapt. So last week, I went over a lot of things like dealing with authority, because that number one rule that gets them in trouble is not following the directives, right? They want to have at least 5 to 6 comments for everything that the teacher says or asks them to do. Why? How come? And a lot of times they're trying to, kind of flex in front of their friends. And so, again, my primary question when I ask them when they get here, I ask them the scenario for which they're here. And then, obviously, I have preview to whatever has been written up in the system, but I want to hear their version. That's part of communication. They need to now communicate why they're here, all right? And then I ask, okay, well, the other parties that were involved, all right, are they in here anywhere? And the answer is usually no, right? I said, so where are they? Well, I think they're in class. Yeah, well, how do they wind up in class and you wind up in ISS? I don't know. Well, yeah, because you allowed yourself to be prodded or provoked into, or an accessory into a situation that you're the one that got ISS and potentially OSS because you were horsing around or whatever the 26 code violations, pseudo code of conduct you violated. It's important that they understand this. And I keep having to say this over and over. And I get repeat offenders, people who keep coming back. And it gets a little frustrating, but again, they're children. And of course, when you tell kids not to do something, the stove is hot, what do? They touch the stove and have to find that it's hot. Unfortunately, we can't save our children from every mistake or encounter that they're going to have. We can only try to prepare them. Scripturally, it says, raise up a child in the way they should go. When they get older, they should not depart from it. And again, one of my mantras is, and I talk to my wife and tell our family, look, you can't blame yourself for every thing that your child does. You can't take credit for everything that they complete or are successful in. So you can't take too much credit and you can't take too much blame. But parents, you have to pay attention. If you're getting referrals home and they're not signed or they're sending these referral homes, I've got students with up to 14, 13 referrals, and this is just the second semester just began, all right? So if they keep on that pattern, they could have, if they stay consistent, they'll be batting 100. They'll probably have about 28 by the end of the year. That's far too many. You cannot be out of class that much and pass. It's just not possible. Well, anything's possible, but it's not probable. So again, I have a lot of work here for them to do, but they must be in their classrooms. Parents, you have to make sure that you're consistent with whatever's going on in the classroom or in school that they're not misbehaving at home. Now, one great suggestion might be that if you could actually schedule an appointment to come out to the school and kind of be a shadow and be in the background and or walk into one of these classrooms where the student is having these problems and, take a look at what's going on, because I know students do a lot of things out of the eye shot of their parents. And so they'll tell them, oh, I didn't do anything. And it's the teacher. And it's everybody else, but it's not them, right? But that's a natural human instinct. It's never our fault. I mean, I suffer from it. We all suffer from it. We all become, the unwilling or the willing victim, perhaps. But part of that is understanding that that is the key, and then we start to accept responsibility. And we're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to be in situations that we don't know how we got there primarily. We made poor judgments, whatever it was, whatever the case may be. But it's important that parents, you must be involved, and you must not necessarily, look, you have to believe what your child is telling you, right? But you have to at the same time understand, your children, right? They're the person at home with you, and if they're disrespecting you and saying, bruh and whatever, and even using profanity, what do you think they're doing in schools? And so this is the primary reason teachers are leaving the profession, because it begins to get very frustrating. I am still going to show some things about bad classroom behavior. It's a very short video that I'll review, and I review it constantly in the class, showing them that this is how you look, and this is what the teacher, he or she, is going through, trying to get you to pay attention or sit down. And time they say, they raise their voice, or you say they yelled at you, then now you have a problem. But again, I'm repeating myself because it's repetitive. You're cursing teachers out. You're using profanity. You're doing all sorts of things that you should not be doing as a young person. And again, we don't know if that's what you do at home, if it's allowed at home, whatever the case may be. But parents, you must pay attention to your students. And likewise, look, if somebody's bothering them or they're being touched inappropriately, whatever it is, I know it becomes difficult. A lot of these scenarios, you're trying to figure out what the truth is. But students have to be consistent in their activities. Everything we're telling them here is that what they have to follow, that you follow at work. You've got rules at work. You got to be on time. You got a dress code. You can't use profanity. You can't, bully other employees. No harassment, sexual harassment. These are the same student code of conduct rules that we have here in school, and it's only a stepping stone for them to understand that this is what life is going to be. If they become employed, they're going to have personnel rules and or rules to go by, and there's a way to conduct yourself. So I just wanted to stop in for a moment and touch base again, because I've been out of the loop for a few days, but we're back in stride. And as I look around the room, it's inviting. Everybody should see themselves in. And again, I was a world history teacher, or teaching history for 2 years prior in high school. So I try to bring a lot of this information here to them, because they have to have this information. And again, we have a new administration. We have a lot of things going on. So everybody needs to just pay attention, do what you need to do, and get to work, right? And let's make the world a better place. Do what we have to do to stay in touch with relatives and or family. We got a lot of things going on. The fires out in California, North Carolina, the floods, and now a lot of things that happen around the world as far as the environment or the climate. We basically get hit with the hurricanes coming off the African coast and heading up the east coast of the United States and or through the Gulf. And out west, a lot of snowstorms. In the Midwest, a lot of snowstorms and or California, rain and mudslides. So these natural disasters taking its toll. And so we've got to pay attention to what's going on and be prepared as much as possible. But things are changing so rapidly that our students must understand that it's critical that they have a future that they prepared for as much as possible. Things happen that are out of control, but all we can do is do the best we can. Again, I decided to dress up a little bit today just to give them the adaptability and show them what dress codes are. Depending on where you are, you may be overdressed, you may be underdressed. Some restaurants you go in are not going to allow you to go in a certain way. Some restaurants require that you have on a sports coat or a jacket, right? You can't go in with sandals. You can't turn around and say, oh, you know, you're violating my First Amendment right or my right to, yeah, okay, come on, right? Pay attention to the rules, do what you're supposed to do, and at the end of the day, do the best you can, all right? So, parents, you very much, if you love your children, you better make sure that they understand there is a way to do things. Now, it may not seem like everybody's following the rules these days, but as I tell them when they wind up in here, you happen to be the one that is in ISS. And then you tell me, well, everybody else was doing whatever, but everybody else isn't in ISS. All right? Have a great day.